Hello, beautiful souls. Some of you probably saw my video I did last night, and it was pretty awful. I was tired and I was not at my best. But you were polite enough. Nobody said the obvious. But I enjoyed doing it, and I thought I might have another go today. I even make it a regular thing. Who knows? Depends what sort of feedback I get. So I was going to talk to you today about elephants. But I'm not going to talk to you about elephants. Maybe tomorrow I'll talk to you about elephants. I had a dream last night, you see, and it's a weird dream that there was this guy who came in and went to bed in my bed. And then a little bit later, another guy came in, and separate guy, separate time, separate bed, separate house, I don't bloody know, got into my bed. And I mean, I'm a peaceful guy. I haven't been violent since I was a teenager. Well, maybe a little bit longer, but not since I was in my 20s anyway. I was violent in my dream, and I chucked them out of my bed. It was horrible. And I started to think, what was this about? Why was I given this dream? What was it telling me? And then a memory popped into my head. Look, most of you guys, especially the ones who've read my book, you know that I'm a nutter. So it won't come as any surprise to you if I tell you I'm a nutter. I had this experience 10 years ago-ish in Santander in the north of Spain. And I was waiting to catch a ferry to Portsmouth. Portsmouth is in England, for those of you who don't know your European geography. And I had a lot of time to kill, and I went for a walk through the town just to see. And there were so many people. I've never seen so many people in my life. I mean, even in Oxford Street in London, it made Oxford Street look like a village. Everybody was out on the streets, and people were struggling to walk past each other without bumping into each other. And I had an epiphany, or a moment of madness, whichever way you want to look at it. And I realised that all those people were me, and I was them. You see, I was brought up, well, I wasn't brought up, dragged up. I knew all my life, I've always known about reincarnation. I wasn't taught about it. My parents thought it was stupid. My grandmother wouldn't talk about it. She said it was the work of the devil, you know. So I certainly wasn't taught it. I just knew it. I think when you've died and been reborn so many times, you just know. You can't not know. But I was so hung up with this basic idea of linear time and having one incarnation after another. And the people when it became popular, I suppose, in the 70s and 80s, with the influx of ideas from India and Tibet and Nepal. And the people were criticising it and saying it can't be true, because everyone remembers the same incarnations. Everybody remembers being Napoleon and Cleopatra and all the famous people. And they can't all have been Cleopatra and Napoleon and all the famous people. So obviously it's just wishful thinking. And my Santander epiphany made me realise that, yes, they can. We all were, are, will be Cleopatra, Alfred the Great, Napoleon, Ethel on the counter, Peter in the accounts office. He'll be one of us. There is only one consciousness in the universe. The universal consciousness. I call it the One. Some people call it God or the Source. I don't like those terms because it suggests that it's external to us, it's other. It's not, it's us. We're all different, unique. And this is where I fall out with the globalists and the so-called woke people, whatever, Jesus. Who think they can impose a one-world government because we're all one and we can all be treated the same and one size fits all. Well, no, one size doesn't fit all because, yes, we are all one, but we are all individual, unique expressions, points of focus within the one. And as well as honouring our oneness, we also need to honour our uniqueness. The two things are not mutually exclusive. Do you remember back in the late 60s, I think it was, might have been early 70s, I think it was late 60s, Pink Floyd with Echoes. It was the first New Age music before there was any New Age music. I used to meditate to it. It was wonderful. But there were a few words to it, not many. And I may have it slightly wrong. I'm doing this from memory, but I am you and what I see is me, and let me take you by the hand and lead me through the land. And, this sort of thing. Anyway, I can't remember exactly. So they realised that we're all one. All the people in the past, all the people in the future, all the people now, all one. And then I started thinking about politics and economics, because I can't divide spirituality from politics. I don't do this division. I don't do this pigeonholing, this segmentation. It's all part of how we relate to other versions of ourselves. Each other, if you like, but it's not really each other. And I've been in business. I've had a lot of money at one time, a lot of money. And I lost it all in the 2008 crash with some bad investments and also a disastrous divorce. But that's another story. And this was before I'd had my Santander epiphany. And if you came and worked for me, you'd get paid fairly. You'd get paid generously. You get far more than you get anywhere else. Because I've always believed that a company, what is a company? The word company. A company is a group of people working in each other's company, in the company of one another. That's what it means. Everyone in that company, everybody who helps create the wealth, deserves a fair share of that wealth. Well, I've always believed that. I've always practiced that. Yeah, I paid myself more than I paid them, obviously. I risked my own money to start the company. And I'd worked 3 years in that company before I started to employ anybody, before I paid myself anything. And I was working 16-hour days and 6.5-day weeks, stuck at my computer trying to make a living, trying to crack the code. And yeah, I did it. I did it. I did it. And so, yeah, I'm entitled to more than the others because of that. But not maybe twice as much. Not 10 times. Not 100 times. Not 1,000 times. Do you remember Simon and Garfunkel with their Richard Cory song? But I work in his factory, and I curse the life I'm living, and I curse my poverty, and I wish that I could be Richard Cory. Why are people like that? Yeah, you can outsource. I could have got local people for a fraction of what I paid them. I could have outsourced to China or India or somewhere and paid even less. But what sort of attitude is that? What sort of way of life is that? It's this idea of separateness. It's this idea that they're not me, they're different from me, they're separate from me, and they don't care. And I'm going to thrive at their expense. Wouldn't it be better if we all helped each other to thrive? Then we could all thrive. There's plenty for everyone. And if we weren't fighting each other, there'd be even more. So if you've read my book, my Love Not Fear book, and I know a lot of you have, and that's why you follow me, and I appreciate it, I really do. But you know that I look forward to a time, a future time, when we won't need governments and we won't need money. What's money for anyway? It's only a way of keeping score. If nobody cared who was winning and who was losing, if nobody cared, someone's got more than me, oh, we can't have anybody having more than me. Love, not fear, that's the main fear. So someone's got more than you. We came from a place of love instead of a place of fear. We wouldn't need money. And we wouldn't need governments to tell us what to do. And to coordinate not even to coordinate our activities, our economic activities. I mean, that's communism, where the government gets involved and takes everybody's money and then doles it back out to them and controls everything. That's tyranny. And I write in my book about an informal gift economy. Informal means that the government don't have anything to do with it. There are no governments. We don't need governments. We all just look after each other. We do what we do. We make what we make. We go to work because we want to be respected. And we give away the things that we make, and other people give away the things that they make. What goes around comes around, and we all get along because we care for one another. It couldn't work in we couldn't work in a society where we believe that there are other people, when we believe there are other versions of us, and we want to help them. Then that kind of economy can work, and we can all thrive. But it's not going to happen straight away. It's going to take time. And if you want it to happen quicker, then get my book in front of more people. Give it away. Tell people about it. And other books like mine. Mine isn't the only book of its type. Although personally I think mine's the best, but I would, wouldn't I? But in the meantime, while we've still got governments and we've still got tax, and I know you hate tax, you think tax is theft, and I agree with you, tax is theft. You shouldn't have to pay to live on your own planet. But if we choose, as a society, to delegate certain services to government, then government have a right to charge for those services, and they charge for them through taxation. And if we want to end tax, then we have to stop delegating services to governments and start doing it for one another, for other versions of us. If there's a pothole in front of your house, don't call the council, go and fill it. You can scale that up to any scale you want. If a job needs doing, do it. But anyway, I digress. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the present system while we have tax. And I mean, I'm not up to date with the actual figures, so excuse me. I mean, I'm retired now. But going back a few years to when I was working, yeah, we used to get, I think it was 10,000. I'm talking round figures now. I can't remember the exact numbers. We used to earn £10,000 a year tax-free. And then we paid a bit of tax on the next 10,000 or whatever it was. I can't remember. It's gone out of my head. And then on the next 10,000 we earned or whatever it was, we paid a higher rate of tax. And on the next bit, we paid a higher rate of tax still. And I remember the days when it went right up to well over 90%. I think it might even have been 99%. And of course, everybody said, that's unfair. The rich people said, that's unfair. We're paying 99% tax. Well, no, they weren't. They were paying 99% tax just on the top little bit of it. They were paying the same rate as everybody else on the lower bits. But it was the same for the whole country. And I had this idea that we could make things fairer. We could have the basic idea is that if you have a company, if you run a company, if you're in a company, if a company makes a product or a service, provides a service, then everybody responsible for making that product or service should share in the profits fairly. And yeah, the man or woman at the top should earn more because they invest their capital in starting the company. They've taken all the risks and they've put years of work in at the beginning without earning anything mostly. And the better educated people, the engineers, the qualified engineers or whatever, they should get paid more than the people who haven't bothered to go to school or university and learn anything. Yeah, of course they should be rewarded for that. But the differentials have to be kept in proportion. And so what if we had a differentials tax? What if this first 10,000 or whatever it was that you could earn 10 tax-free, what if that was set at the equivalent of the lowest paid worker in that company? And what if everybody was taxed at higher rates in increments based on how much more they were earning than the lowest paid worker in that company? So if you're a CEO and you want to earn £1 million tax-free, you can. Just make sure the janitor's earning 990,000. You only want to give him 10,000, then you're going to pay tax, sunshine. And so you should. We've got to get rid of the meanness. I mean, in the long term, the way to get rid of the meanness is to get rid of the money. But in the short term, the way to get rid of the meanness there's a differentials tax. So that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today, this idea that we're all one, and we can all thrive if we help each other to thrive. And we're all going to hell in a handbasket if we continue to thrive at the expense of one another, because there are no others. That's it. Take care. Have a lovely day. Bye.